Moving up and down the sidelines without a big, heavy lens with a monopod was amazing. It was probably the most agile and free I have ever felt shooting football. Hey everyone, I'm Nate Edwards with BYU Photo, and today I'm going to give you my thoughts on the Canon 1-300 after having used it for about a year now. You may be wondering, is it worth the cost, and is it good enough to replace my long prime lenses? I'll answer that question in a little bit, but first let me tell you about my experience with it. We got it last basketball season, and at first I did not like it at all. It really threw off my groove. I was still using my 15-35, 70-200, and then I threw in the 1-300 in place of my 300 prime. And it was really hard for me to stay on that lens when action was coming to me, because I found myself swapping back to my 70-200 just out of habit instead of using the zoom of the 1-300. Now, it's light enough to hand hold, but my arms would get super tired after a while. And then the other part is it was awesome when I was shooting in the stands with the focal range that it gives me, but the 100 millimeters felt a little tight when I was under the basket and the play went to the hoop. Also, I wish the throw was a little shorter and faster, because you can't go all the way from 1-300 in one turn very easily, but I learned to manage. Now, the image quality was sharp and the focus is super fast. I didn't have many struggles following the action with the camera and the lens keeping up, but I felt like it was still hard to juggle for me to know when to use it. So the second game I shot, I felt a little better. I tried to be more intentional with using it and not just swapping over to my 70-200 as much. Eventually, the 1-300 completely replaced my 70-200. Now, once I made that switch, I really started to love it because it forced me to use it. In fact, it became one of the primary lenses I used while shooting a basketball game, and I took it with me to every game at home and on the road, and I just left my 70-200 in the office. It also had great range while shooting baseball. I did use a monopod here most of the time, and this is also where I tried out the teleconverters. I heard a Canon rep talk about their clarity a while ago before I tried this lens and thought, yeah right, I'll believe it when I see it. So those of you who have used teleconverters in the past know exactly what I'm talking about. The images are always soft. I've never been happy with them. However, when I used the 1.4 and 2 times teleconverters on the 1-300, I was super impressed with little to no loss in the sharpness. Canon finally solved the problem that we've all been frustrated with. Here's some examples of using the teleconverters from the outfield shooting back towards home plate. When you're using the 1.4 teleconverter, it gives you a minimum f-stop of 4, and the new focal range is 140 to 420. When using the 2 times teleconverter, it gives you a minimum f-stop of 5.6, and the new focal range is 200 to 600. It kind of feels like using the 2-400 with the built-in teleconverter, but it's a lot lighter and the image quality is much better. But where I felt the 1-300 made me almost giddy was while shooting track and field. I took it with me to the NCAA West preliminaries, and it was amazing. It completely lightened my load. I usually would carry with me my 70-200, 15-35, and a 4 or 500 with me at a track meet with a side bag of batteries and remote triggers. This time I had the 1-300 with both teleconverters and a wide-angle lens in my side bag with my extra batteries and remote triggers. I felt so much more versatile and free in getting around because I was carrying so much less equipment. Yes, one less camera is a lot. And I just handheld the camera. The focal range was perfect for track and field. I only put on the teleconverters for a few events and they worked amazing. It was so nice just to be able to have them close in my side bag when I needed them and just left them off to the side when I didn't. Then I used it to photograph football. My first game to use it was on the road, and I just hooked it to my Black Rapid double strap with my 28-70 on the other side, and I felt so free. Moving up and down the sidelines without a big, heavy lens with a monopod was amazing. It was probably the most agile and free I have ever felt shooting football. I kept the 1.4 teleconverter on most of the time, but then I'd remove it when our team was in the red zone when I was able to. The only time it felt tight was when a 2-point conversion came directly to my corner. I still got the shot, but I didn't have the context of the end zone as much as I would have liked. I've used it every game this season and absolutely love it. I do wish, however, that the throw was a little shorter and more loose like Canon's new 24-105 and 70-200. But honestly, it's been an amazing lens to use running up and down the sidelines and in the red zone. And finally, I just got back from the NCAA Cross Country National Championships, and it was awesome there as well. I had it as my primary lens with the 15-35 as my remote camera by my feet when I was shooting. Now, going back a few years ago, I decided to haul around a 400 with me to Cross Country Nationals, and I got one of my favorite cross country shots I've ever had. But it was a pain hauling that thing around over my shoulder with a monopod, 2 other cameras on my side. I'm running my own 5K, going from spot to spot, shooting the race, all while racing everybody else's mom, rushing to the next best spot to take a photo. With the 1-300, I still had the look of a long prime lens, but the versatility of running around feeling much more free. So here's my list of pros and cons. Pros, it's lightweight, it's good size, the focal length and range for multiple sports is great, and the teleconverters are actually sharp. Now the cons are, it's expensive, the throw's a little long and stiff, and it takes a while to get used to. Long story short, I now absolutely love this lens. Again, it does take a while to get used to. I hated it at first, but now it is amazing to me. When you leave your 70-200 at home, you will grow to love this thing. At least I did. Now, I know this lens is a little on the expensive side, but if you want a great all-around versatile sports lens that can replace your 70-200, your 3, 4, 5, or 600 prime lenses, this is the lens to do it right now, especially with how amazingly sharp the teleconverters are. Now, it's not the ultimate perfect solution, but in my opinion, it sure is a good one for the time being. And I know this isn't a deep, comprehensive, detailed review of this lens, but I just wanted to get my thoughts out there for those who are wondering if you should make the investment. Now, I hope this video is helpful for any of you who had questions about Canon's 1-300. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.